Hi everyone, welcome to another Disney Infinity tutorial. I have been requested to do like a Call of Duty type style game, and at first glance I thought, well, there's a lot of shooting, pre-shooting things you can do, so I couldn't see the point. And then I realised there isn't actually anywhere to record how many times you die within a game. And so the objective of this clip is to create like a team deathmatch where you can fight against each other, but it actually records how many times you kill the opponent. And once you get that opponent killed so many times, then you win the game. Now, you'll see here on the clip here, I've just showed you like a very small, and it's basically 9 squares battle arena. Okay, and I'm going to have one team start from this side, and player 2 team's going to start from the other side. Now, player 2's stuff I've already set up and completed. Yeah, but you'll see here I've just got different rooms and different sections, and what we're going to do is we're going to have both sides will have extra enemies to appear. We've got maps of different levels, and I have to say this map, and like I've always said, keep the map small and don't get. It's probably about the right size for a team deathmatch game. I'll give it a good test. Also, when you get to the end of this game, if you look around about 44 minutes into this, you'll see we'll have 2 matches. It's been some of the best fun we've had playing against each other. So it's really quite a good game. So as you'll see here, this is where players 2, and you'll see all the logic's already been done here. So we're going to concentrate everything on player 1. Yeah, but remember, when you're doing this, you have to repeat it twice. So you've got to do one side and one the other side. Now this section is not finished, so we're going to build all this and finish this item off. But like I say, it's going to track how many times you die, yeah, and that's your tracking score. Now you'll see I've chucked in other tools in here, and my next clip that follows this is going to show you how to create kill streaks. And once you get a certain kill streak in, what happens, extra things will occur, more weapons and choices occur. So that's my second clip. This one is just setting up the team deathmatch and getting your game going. Right, so straight in, the first thing we're going to do is create a door. I want to keep a door to keep you in when you respawn. So okay, so we're going to build a door within here, and I've done it before in my attack of the AT-AT attack. So what I'm going to do here is going to go down to my simple toys. Okay, and we're just going to build a door that slides up and down. Okay, so they're the 2 door panels. Alright. Now the doors I want to slide down, so I need to get my creativity toys, and I'm going to move them down on the screen. But before I do that, I'm going to format them all. Now you'll notice here, I tend to, in my previous clips, format them after I've got them connected. Here I'm just doing it now, so they're not moving, I don't have to race back and forth. A lot easier to do. So you'll see here I've got my technique of using these until quite, I've got it down to quite a fine art now. So I've got my 2 front doors. Now all I need is my creativity toy to move the item down. Right, so let's get back to my creativity toys. Find my path creator. Oops, gone past it. And I'm going to place that in the middle. Make sure it's in the middle of the section. Put it flat on the ground. Yep. And then what I'm going to do is click the button and then drag it straight down. Keep it straight, and so it's under the ground. Okay, and I'm going to stop that there on the screen. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and set as much properties up with this path tool before I even add any other extra sections to it. So what we're going to do now is, while I'm still in Spark mode, I'm going to go straight to the little section here. I'm going to go to properties, and I'm going to make the speed of this already. I'm going to set this up to either, I think, 200. I want it to be quite quick, and I want it to be a slow process. Okay, so that is my door. So when I link the objects to it, they're going to move up and down. Now before I do it, it's going to get a bit crazy and other items are in the way, right? And so it gets a bit messy. So I need 2 other components. These are my logic gates, my famous logic gates. One's going to switch the door to stop it on and off, and the other one's going to switch it back on. Right, there they are. Right, so that's for logic gate number 1. I'll use that to switch the door on, and logic gate number 2 is to switch the actual item off. Now I have to say, if you watch this from 44 minutes into it, right? Okay, that button's just gonna be the door opener. But if you watch this from 44 minutes on, you'll see how good this game is. And I'd say it's one of the best things I've done. There's no story to it; it's just a straightforward match against each other. But it is a really good game. Right. So what we're gonna do is when the doors reach this point on the actual game, yeah. So when they reach the path, I'm gonna input into this logic gate. So can you input a signal? When it does, what I want it to do is to switch the thing off, to stop it. So new logic connection on output. Can we switch those items off? Yeah. And if we scroll down to the very bottom, same thing applies again at the bottom. When we reach the point on path, so new logic connection, when point reached on path, can you then input a signal there that will switch that item off? So basically, as soon as the doors move up and down, it'll send a signal to that gate, and that gate keeps telling it to switch the actual item off. Okay, so it'll keep stopping. What this will do is, when we input a signal into that gate, we're going to do the opposite and say, right, can you keep switching it back on so the doors will then move to the next point? They will then stop, and it will go back and forth. So in this case here, we're going to do on output a signal. Can we turn it back on? So what we'll do now is this is going to actually trigger the door to open, yeah. And we're going to say when pressed, can you input a signal? That'll go into that gate. That will send it to the path tool. The path tool switch on and move down. They'll hit the point and then stop again, and then we go back and set the same thing. So we can get them to move up and down. And like I say, I'm trying to confine the user into an area so we can track where they are and where they're coming from. So as you'll see now, I'm just linking the doors. You'll see I've just connected the door, it's linked it straight through to the bottom. Now the problem we've got with the door is that it's on repeat, so when it gets to the bottom it goes back to the top. So I'm just going to have to come around from the side. Just click onto the door now. I need the last few settings here on the screen. So what we're going to do is we're going to basically change the type of path. Yeah, we're going to first of all move it across. So for this type of door you need to move it 6 places across, and I need to change it to back and forth. Okay, so that's moved on the side. Now we need to connect the other door. Seems to be coming better when I come from this side. And now I have to do the -6, the properties along the horizon. I've got to do -6. Okay, and I want to make sure that goes back and forth. And like I said, I've shown you how to do this before, but it is just basically a door going up and down. Okay, so if I now come out of Spark mode as my character, okay, I'll pop effect at the moment. If you press the button here, the door shoots down and it stops. Press it again, door shoots back up. So we now have the door on the screen. So that is a door mechanism set up. Doesn't do anything except just a door. Okay, and I always separate the tools, so we've always know I'm going to get that logic gate that turns it on to do a few other items. So what we've got here now is this big square chunk out the way. Okay, and this is where we're going to actually respawn our records. That's where we're going to appear. So now I'm happy with these items. I'm just going to push these to one side and keep them out of the way. Okay, that one doesn't need to appear again. Right. I'll move that to the side. And I move the button so I can put those in position in for the door side. Now, while I was working the section out, I just thought, well, that's quite easy. It's simple to do. Track how many times you die. What we'll have is we'll have a trigger area. But then the issue was, what if they keep running back and forth into the trigger? I wanted to make sure you couldn't fix the item off. Okay, so yes, we do need a trigger area, but the skill here is not to use this part. It's to make sure you cannot go back into that area. Okay, so started trying to think out what we're going to do on this area. So when we run through there to go through the door, that will say, right, we've got in here, we must have died, therefore let's start the game off. Okay, now the other issue I've got also is that when you start off, you're going to run through the area, so you're not going to die, so it doesn't have to work the first time. So it got a little bit tricky. So what we're going to do here is we're going to show you the logic where we're done, and then we'll hopefully it comes more apparent what I'm trying to achieve. So let's get another logic gate. There. Okay. Right, and that logic gate is going to realise that I haven't died yet when we start the game. So that one, basically, the purpose of this gate is to track when I actually have died, so then I can start counting. Okay. So what we're going to say here is, right, when we exit this area, right, when we've exited that area, and it's player, right, it's not in our object, it's particular player, right, and we're doing player 1, and in the other group you're going to do player 2, we're going to input a signal into that box. Okay, and that is going to tell me that I've died. But when we start off, we will run through that area, so it's only once we've done that particular gate. Okay, so what we're going to say is, actually, once I've closed that gate, then we're actually going to do our option. So we're going to say there's when that input is blocked, right, then we're going to create our counter. Okay, that goes into that particular field. Right, so once I then thought I'd do is, right, we'll create a room to force you out. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to create another platform here, and this platform is going to help us move through the screen. So let's just push this to one side. Now, in the platform tools, there was, so if I go to Game Makers, in the platforming area, there's a component here that you can unlock, which is this platform. I'm not sure if it's part of Inside Out Toybox or it's standard, but basically with this platform you can actually, it's like a one-way item, so you can pass through beneath it, but once you've come through it you cannot go back down, and therefore you cannot go back and trigger that you've died. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to force the user underneath this, and once they come up, that's when it says, right, you're now dead, but then you can't go back through. So I'm using this platform to block the path that I've done. Okay, so I've just put those 4 squares on, and what I'll do now is, if I go to my terrain, I'm just going to build the platform below. None of this is really too complicated. I have to say it's quite straightforward. When we get onto the kill streaks on the next one, it then starts getting a little bit more tricky. Right, so this is the area that the actual user is going to start, and the same on the other side. Let's change this to a dark, so that looks like a room. But I'm going to start them here. They will run forward. They'll come up through the platform, and as they're coming through there, that's when I will send a signal through my trigger area to that logic gate to say, right, you have died. Okay. So the question here is, I need some sort of platform to force the user up. Okay, so let's get my creativity tools up. And really, like I say, the challenge here is just to be called the death, and that's why we create the clip, and it's turned out to be one of the best games we keep playing at the moment. Right. Right, so in here I want the item to come up. Now be careful, because I want it to come up from the screen. I don't want to drag the item down. I'm going to move my pointer below it, click my button now, and then drag up. It's got to go up, otherwise the platform's going to go down on the screen. Yeah, and I don't want it going up and down. I don't want the user to be stuck in the screen, so it's going straight up on the list. Yeah, so all it does is go up, and as we've pointed that way, the standard route is just a loop. Yeah. So what I'm going to do on here is I'm going to change the speed of this, and I want it to be super quick. Yeah, I don't want the user to have time to go through it slowly and decide to change their mind. So I'm going to change that to 300. And in this case here, once they've got that speed up, it means they'll walk across. It'll shoot them through before they even have time to realise what they've done. Okay, so I'm now going to get my simple toys, and I'm going to go and get my flat panel. Okay, there's that one. Okay, click once there. I can change the platform of that before I move it, because it's going to be going too fast. and I'm going to connect it to the path. Now, a friend of mine asked me, what good family games can you get for the PS4? And it got me thinking, there aren't any. Yeah? There is Disney Infinity, which is awesome. There is your Lego games, you can never go wrong with a Lego game, they are great. There's Little Big Planet, Plants vs Zombies, and that is about it. Yeah? Every other game is either an 18 and is more of an adult theme. There are very, very few family games, and if any developers do watch this, please make a new version of the Disney Infinity box. Really think it through, because there is a market there. Because the only games I play with Lego are with family are Lego or this. But this is still my. Every time I keep coming back to it, it's just so much fun. Right, so this is what I'll show you. You come through and look, bang! I can't go back in that screen. I'm fixed. I jump up, can't fall through it. So that's going to track. So I'm going to respawn here. Right, it's going to track what I'm doing, and as I walk through, look, pushes me through. That's recorded that I've died, and now I can now go and open the door and attack the other individuals. Okay, so now I need to now is just finish this item off. And as you can see, after all these clips I've got, I've still keep pressing the wrong flipping buttons. So you'll find that you'll do the same here. So I'm just going to move this trigger area over the button. Now, the one thing I did do is I put the trigger over to fill the whole area. And that didn't work. It doubled up on my death. So I advise you make it just sure it covers on the lift. So theoretically the user could walk out and walk back in again, but hopefully the lift door's going so quick they don't realise that, because there's nothing else to do in this room. It's pretty boring. So I'm making sure it fills the whole area. So you can click on, once you trigger it, you can resize it. But it's not on enter, it's on exit. Yeah, so they walk in and they'll go straight through on the screen, and you'll see there is a gap between the two, so there's no chance they can relink it. So what we'll do now is we'll just fill in the side panels now. So we'll now put in these little sections in. And I like to hide little boxes at the side so we can't see any little gaps, because you can just briefly see gaps by putting them at the side. And the nice thing with this type of deathmatch game is just you can do the same again, but just same layout, but just different scenario. Make it snow or winter or whatever you like on the screen. Now this is important, by the way. You have to do the roof first. This is one of those roof tools you have to unlock. You have to do that first before we then put the checkpoints in. Otherwise, it won't let you put that item in. But this is the thing that records the deaths. Yeah, so that's our tools, and I'll leave it out there so we know that's there on the screen. Right, so the last thing we now do for this particular room is create our checkpoint. Now there's two things we're going to need. We're going to need a checkpoint, and we're going to use the locator. The locator will become more apparent in a moment. But what we're going to do here is just go back to my creativity toys, and let's select our checkpoint. Okay, go back to there, not too far. Now when you select the checkpoint, there's a little red dot on the panel. And wherever you face, it's to the left of where you want it to go. So in this case, I want to be facing towards the ramp. Yeah, I don't want to be facing backwards. So you'll see there, that's where the red dot is on the middle. I'm just going to place that in the middle of that particular box. Okay. Now we're setting this up for player 1, right? But you'll do exactly the same and set it up for player 2. So in here, we're going to go to the properties of here. I'm going to go to properties. Now you need to make sure, because what it'll tend to default is do it for everybody. So you'll see it'll just set the whole lot here. So what we're going to change here is just going to make sure it's set for player 1. And as you'll notice here, I've set it for player 2. Yeah, but you'll need to do that at the other end. Yeah. So I don't want to set player 2 in this particular case. I've actually done this wrong. Yeah, I made a slight mistake here, got carried away. So you set both those to the player, right? Individual players. But for this case, it's player 1 that we're worried about. So I need to set it back to player 1. Okay, now I don't want the user to see this big giant box, it's not needed, so I'm going to do it hidden so it's actually disappeared from sight, so they won't actually even see that option, which is quite handy. Yeah. Now that was good, so that's when we die, we'll respawn there. Okay, so the other thing we need to do is when we start, where do we start in the game? So I need the locator, and the locator is the point where the player is going to start. So one for player 2 and one for player 1. So let's get the locator, grab the locator, let's move that across and chuck that in on the box. Now I'm just going to put that just in front of the square, so theoretically the user can't see it and they will have to go over the top. Now one thing I've only just found out after playing this game for nearly almost 2 years now, if I just come back into my main character, if we go down and look at the actual locator, there is actually a little dot on the very front of it, right? And that means when I spawn there, or when I actually start that place, I will actually be facing forward toward the ramp. I wasn't aware that existed. Some of you will go, what a muppet, why did you not know that? But I wasn't aware of that, so that little triangle points us forward. So we'll respawn, we'll come out, we'll set the triggers off, and that there is how we've done our gate. So we're now ready to go. What I now need to do is now link this to our game. Okay, so let me just go back into Spark mode and let's have a look at a few other settings that we can look about. So the idea is that once you respawn, the game is going to start you on this check gate. Yeah, you'll then run through. Now the game you haven't died yet, because this is where you start, and then you will transfer and run through into the map. Yeah. Now while that, we're going to have enemies scattered throughout the place that are going to appear randomly, and obviously player 2 is going to come through the other end. Now in my various techniques, what I've done, I've created these little tower rooms at the end, and what my plan was to have all the troops run out and join you, so it looked like it was an invasion. But the problem is they didn't mingle, they tend to stay around the tower, so it didn't actually work. So I scrapped that, and I found the best way to do it, to scatter them all about. And then what I've come up with the idea with this room is that I could have 4 different types of games. So what I can do is I can create game makers within each of these different zones. I'm going to put it here in the middle so we'll see it all in the screen, but I then thought I could use those little towers for different type of games that we load up. So one could be a team deathmatch where you're on the same side, one is where we're doing a 1 versus 1 play against each other. So I'm just going to put the game maker here, but I just had that set up for the room. And one thing you'll notice when we play this game, I found that the multiple levels work really well. So if I'm going to tweak this game, I will actually create more and more setups. Right, so anyway, back to the game maker. We've now inserted the game maker, and I definitely need this blue orb, and I need an orange orb, because this is going to set player 1 and player 2 up on the screen. Right, I'm also going to need a scoreboard. Now you'll get a few errors with the scoreboard because the scoreboard's not linked anymore to the internet, so you can keep what's the rate and score. But we have just scoreboard. There's 2 different types. There's team scoreboard or just a standard scoreboard. We're just going to choose a standard scoreboard. There's no need for a team one because we're not going to have 4 players. It's only going to be a 2-player game. And I need this gate here because I need to reset the score. Yeah. Now I played around with this. This actually option is not needed. So this logic gate that I put in here, ignore that. Okay, get rid of it here. But we do need the text creator. Okay, so the text creator is important because what that text creator tool is going to tell us whether we have player 1 or player 2 in. So in here we're going to do text box 1 and we're going to say, right, player 1 wins, and in text 2 we're going to put player 2 wins. Yeah, now there are phrases that are already set, so you can actually use that. You don't have to use a text box, but what you could is you could have a taunt in there saying player 1 is the winner, player 2's a muppet. I don't know, you could change and customize that, but again, these variation of wins you've got to get in before the March 2017 because you won't be able to do this on our tool. And as an always a prompt, download the template toybox, which you can go to the latest downloads in your community because it's got a way of creating stories after the servers get switched off. Right, so I've got those 2 messages up here. I'm going to have them as a banner, yeah, and I'm going to make them last for 4 seconds. There's a good little win there. So when we win, I want that message to be displayed. Okay, right, but that theoretically is my game maker scenario. Yeah, so we've got here on this option is that when we go to start our game, the thing will actually register. So right, what we're going to do on this particular screen, so we're going to say, right, new logic connection when the game is started. Yeah, so when we start this game, okay, what do we want to do? I want to set player 1 to the blue team, which is quite good. And obviously on the new game, new logic connection, I want to set player 2 to the orange team. Now if you do another gamepad and start another place, you could put all player 1 and player 2 to the blue team. You can do it that way around, so it's not a problem on that side. Okay, right, so none of these, so I've done that for the blue team and I've done that for the orange team. Right, so I also do when game started. Now I'm going to travel all the way back to my little pad that we've been doing, and I'm going to point to the locator. Right, because most of the time you don't do it, it'll say to you, what I'm going to say here is on that locator, and you'll see nothing works because I've done game started. Right, cancel that because it doesn't work on that particular case. Let's go back because I've done on game started new logic connection. Let's cancel that out. Let's go back to the gate, and what you'll notice here, we do have a locator connection. Okay, so there is actually a separate option for locators. Now, if you don't set those, you both will start on the pad and you start killing each other, which is not what we want to do. But what I want to do is I want to set player 1 to start here. So I've got a new locator connection. If I connect to that locator, it'll then say, right, which one? Player 1, player 2, and I want player 1 and all team members to start here. Okay, so we're going to do player 1. Now we don't have 3 and 4 because we're not on a network game, so you're only going to ever do 1 and 2. And you might as well get in the habit of that because you're not going to be able to play it online after soon anyway. So that there is our player 2, right? Sorry, player 1 gets set there. I'm getting myself confused. So player 1 is set there, so I now need to do the same with the other locator. So in this case here, I'm going to go locator, new locator connection, and I'm going to go to the complete other side. And this is where you have to mirror it up together. So go back to the other side, and I'm going to set that locator there for player 2. So player 2, and you'll notice player 1, I couldn't set player 1, player 1's already been set. Okay, so that's now set up on the screen, which is all good. So I've now set the location place, I've now set where the position is going to appear, yeah. Okay, so what actions do I want to do also on this screen? So new logic connection, when started, yeah. What I'm going to do here is, I'm going to send a signal, yeah. And that signal is going to switch the scoreboard on. Okay, so I'm going to switch that scoreboard on here. Now, in this case here, as I've gone straight to this this section gate here, and I've gone on here, and I said what I like to do is input a signal on here. And the reason for that was it will send a signal to reset the score. You don't need it. So this whole logic gate, get rid of, because what I've got here is reset the score. What it kept on doing, it wouldn't actually do the score. Every time it did, it kept on resetting it. Didn't like it at all. Yeah, so I've got it to reset. Don't do that at all. Get rid of that because it changes it. It just won't keep the score at all. So you can bin that. So that logic gate, get rid of. You don't need it at all. So what we'll do instead here is we'll do on started. Can we activate the score? Okay. Can we activate it on there? Which is fine. Now the get rid of logic gate. Don't need that one. I got carried away. I was trying to be too clever. So you can forget the reset, but you do need to activate the score. Okay. And if we go properties to our thing, what we can say, it's a point scoring, what's the title of it, and put a description on. Now, I've done it on my template where I've created a number of different boxes for the templates, because again, you won't be able to put this description in after March. This section doesn't work. So if I was you, create a toy box, create a number of game makers, yeah, put enough different descriptions that you think you might use, Team Deathmatch, Rescue the Princess, create them now, because you will not be able to do that, and it will just be a blank text. So I think on my template I've said press the button to find out the reason, and it will give you, using my text creator matrix, allow you to do it. But this is the only time you're going to do this item up. So I'm going to create a lot more during February, preempt stories that I think I'm going to do. Okay. So there is my game maker. If it's not there, it just doesn't appear. You don't actually have to set it. It'll still work. You just can't put the text to go with that particular item. Okay, so we've now got our logic set up. Yeah, we've now got it so it will trigger the 2 individuals to go to the side box. Okay, so that's now set up. What we can do on here is we've got our scoreboard, yeah, but that scoreboard is activated, yeah. So what we can do is we can go into the properties of that scoreboard and say, right, what's the limit? How many times do you want them to be killed? Now I've set it to 3, otherwise my games will last for ages. But you could do 10, you could make it 50, yeah, depending on different types of matches that you want to do, and put a timer if you want it. So you'll find our game for 3 lasted a good 6 minutes. So if you set the level to probably 5 deaths, then you'll find you probably get about a 10-minute game, which is probably about long enough, because then you may want to swap characters around and try different effects. We've got 2 matches at the end of this clip, I say around about the 44-minute mark, so watch that, it's quite good. So what you'll see here is that I need to obviously record when we have a win, right? So when the target is reached. Now what you saw there, I've just got into the logic, and I've gone when target reached. Well, it's actually not that, it's when I want it to occur. The target is always going to be reached. So if we go back to new logic connection, and one thing I always forget to do here is when you go in your logic connection, you have more options, yeah? And the option is when player 1 wins. It knows that player 1 has won because it has got to that particular point. It's got to the target, Yeah, I don't actually have to say do something particular. So what I'm going to say here is when player 1 wins, when they get to the target, can we display their message? So in this case, can you display text 1? Now I need to do the same again. When player 2 wins, yeah, can we also display the message? So new logic connection. When player 2 wins, can we display message 2? Okay, which is all quite good. So the thing we need to do now is how do we keep that score going? How do we increase that score? How do I know that you've died? How do I know you've killed through? Okay, so where do I get that up from 0 to 3? So that's what we need to do here. And we'll look at the different sections. And it's not this part here that I need to worry about. It's back where our gate is on the other side. But we've created the gamepad. We've created the rules. Yeah, we know that we've got to hit 3 in this particular game. So I'm just going to come out of this and we're going to go now back to our starting gate. So you'll see here is what happens when the game complete the game and other options. Let me just cancel that for a second. What I want to do is I want to go back to my starting point. Okay, that's the score I need to change, that particular option. So I'm now just going to jump all the way back. And that is the area. So when we go through our trigger, it'll send a signal to that particular box. Okay, so therefore I want to record it here. Now I'm going to do new logic connection, but it's not on output. It's on input blocked. Okay, because the first time you run through it, the very first time, yeah, I don't want to give you a score. So on when it's the inputs blocked, what I like to do there is, can we increment, all right, by 1. Player 1. Now it's not player 1, it's player 2, because if player 1 is in this area, player 2 has killed you. Yeah, so player 2 has got the point. So just be aware of that. Yeah, it's when you've killed that individual. Now you'll see here I've got the same issue with the gate here. There's a few other links on there. So what I'll do on this side, exactly the same thing, is new logic connection when input blocked. Okay, which means player 2 has died, which means the point goes to player 1. Right, I nearly made that common mistake. So that's a common area that you might find you make a mistake here on. So be wary, it's the opposite way round. Yeah. So can you implement by 1, and it's player 1. Yeah. So when you do it the other way round, is if player 1 is in that area, they are going to be, they have died, so it's player 2 who gets the point. Yeah, it's the reverse, and it's making sure you do that. Otherwise, what happens is player 1 dies and player 1 gets the point. That's not the right way round. Okay, so that's the logic set up with the scoreboard. So we now have the score going between the two. Okay, so we go back to this issue here is when we start, and like I always mention, we start on here, so you will go through that area. So I don't want to trigger it, but the ramp will be closed. Yeah, so they will have to press that button, and that forces them to open the door. So I'm forcing you to actually press that button, which will make the door open up. Okay, which is all good. So I'm going to do new logic connection. When you press that button, what I'd like you to do then is I'd like you to go to this gate here, and I would like you to close the gate. Right, that physically close it. That then means the next time you go through the area, it will have known that you have died. Okay, that is the rule on that screen. Okay, and that's the tricky part to that particular element. Okay. So now I know that you've died through there, it goes into that particular section. Now, the good thing is every time we go into the game, those doors will automatically be closed. Yeah. So what I'm going to do here is every time we point is I want those doors to make sure they're closed. Yeah. Now the first time they'll be closed on the screen, so it's okay. But the second time you'll have opened them up, so I'm going to shut them down through the screen. So in this case here, I'm going to do new logic connection. Okay. If the input is blocked, then we know they've died. So in that case, can we input a signal into that door there, because that will then input a signal, that will then make the door reclose. Only on input blocked, because I know when you load it up it will be closed anyway. So that guarantees I have to keep pressing the button, but that makes sure the door's shut, so it gives me a time to adjust so the guy can't come in and kill me and get on your respawn area. And that is a scoreboard. That's how that's done. That's how locked down. Yeah, that is all you need to worry about on the score. Yeah, so we've now got that individual being killed. Right, so the one thing I'm going to do now, yeah, and I'll just put this, is I need some troops on my side. I need to help the cause. So by having troops on, it will distract you. So if you can't find your other person, you've got other people to kill. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is get my locators, and like I said, I tried to do it like all the troops running out, but they don't. So I'm going to scatter them all over the place, and that will get them fighting. So it's relatively straightforward. We've got our enemy wave generator, okay, and what we're going to do with this enemy wave generator is we're going to say, right, generate wave. What do we want? Now on player 1 I'm going to have as rebels, and player 2 I'm going to have Imperials. So I tried to find something like a stormtrooper, and this guy I found quite good, but I have 3 different types with rifles. Yeah, different options we'll have on the screen, but you've got all these different characters to see that you can pick from. And again, depending on which type of level you want, whether it's to do with monsters or whether it's to do with Guardians Galaxies and Ice Giants, a Spider-Man thing, you can do a Spider-Man battle. It doesn't have to be Star Wars. Yeah, you can pick any character you like. And these guys don't really look like anything from Star Wars. They just look like rebels to me, so they will do. I want people shooting. If they're fighting type of characters, they're not as good because obviously you've got to go and get to the guy. He's got to track you down. Whereas I want them shooting you from a distance. So that's why I want them involved. Like I said, I've used the Imperials on the other side. Now again, this wave generator, I'm doing it for player 1. I would have to repeat this exactly the same for player 2. Yeah, so I've got to do the same thing. So I want a number of people, and I think now I'm pushing the limit here because obviously we're going to have roughly 16, 12, 15 guys. So that's 30 in total. All right. That's pushing it 30 because it's 15 my side, 15 other side. Any more than that and it will start struggling and certain logic will stop from working. And I don't want them to all spawn at the same time, so you may want to stagger that, yeah? But make sure you change the team, and these are player 1s, and player 1 is on the blue team, right? And when I do it the opposite side, I'll make player 2 the orange team, okay? Otherwise there'll be an advantage to one over the other. Okay, so I'm going to delay the charge, so I'm going to do like every time they keep spawning a longer period, so they'll get one here, one there. Now, I think I set it to 10 seconds when I get through it, but I try and keep it shorter on the screen. Right, so what I'm going to do is now link all the spawn area to these locators. So we go through and we set all these up. And again, if you've been playing and creating your toy boxes, you'll notice keep them all close together to start with and then move them out afterwards. So much easier than trying to go and keep finding them. You get totally lost. And there are various games out there. There is still nothing like Disney Infinity. Just the fun of building itself is great fun, and actually making something up I find is probably more enjoyable than the game itself. But the one thing I find that you can't do in any other game is that you can build a map together. So you and your friends can get together and build a map, design a layout. They do one side, they do the other side, and it all comes together at the end. So the fact that you can do that, I think this game is amazing. I do hope someone just copies this, rips this off, and use something very similar. I mean, one thing you may not be aware of, that Lego got a game called Lego Worlds that comes out February of 2017. And that looks very similar to Disney Infinity, where you can create your own environment. So I'm going to keep an eye out on that. But not to worry anyone, I will still be posting Disney Infinity videos throughout 2017. I'm not going to give up on this game because there is nothing better than it at the moment. I've got around about 15 different themes I'm working on at the moment. I've created my Indiana Jones cable car run, or mine shaft run. I've got that working, and I've just got to do the voiceover for that. I'm still in the early stages of my sea battle, so I've got that one working. I've got various firing catapults, and one game I'm hopefully going to get out over the next few days is the opposite to this Team Deathmatch. So this is a known game mode in Call of Duty. So just so I don't want to offend Call of Duty Battlefront and Battlefield guys, I'm going to create a game of Rush. Now that is Battlefield's version of their game, and I think Battlefront, not to get confused, call it Infiltration. But there's going to be team objectives where you have to set some charges. Once they blow, you move on to the next thing until you get to the end, and you've got a certain time limit. I've got that worked out, and that's going to be coming out in the next few days, hopefully, or as long as I get the time to do it. But as you'll see here now, so I'm just finishing off this game, I am just placing these locators throughout so they appear together. Now, like I said, I had all troops walking through, but they didn't mingle. So by scattering them around, they appear in different areas and they'll keep the battle going. So I strongly advise this technique. It's actually easier than doing the other one that I'd done, but it's a better way on that particular setup. And then once you've moved all these, this theoretically is it. This is your enemy set up. So all we've got to do is remember that you've done all this location, but what triggers the wave? Yeah? And the wave is triggered when the game starts. So once I've finished moving all these locators around, I'm then going to make sure that I may have that wave to start. Okay, let's move this over here. And if you missed up on earlier, I have mentioned I'm going to show you how to do kill streaks, which is where you've got that vehicle spawn on the screen, but I'll explain that later. Right, so I think I increased this generated. I told you I increased it to a larger amount to make it 10 seconds. I actually would probably say around about 4 seconds is better. 10's too wrong, so I would change that back to 4. Okay, so we've got the other side, and you'll see here I've created the other spawn locations, and you'll see all the logic I've hidden down here, and those little logic gates that we haven't explained yet, which is in my next clip, is how we record the kill streaks. Okay, so we've got the other side, but remember everything we do, and I've said this already, you've got to mirror it. So you do one for player 1 and one for player 2. Okay, so I've changed those to 10 seconds. Okay, and you will have noticed there's the orange team in there. Right, so all I need to do now is get those enemies to appear. I want them to start spawning. Okay, so when should we start that? When do we do it? Let's get as soon as the game starts. Let's do it straight away. So let's right click onto there. So we'll do new logic connection. When game started, what I'd like you to do is I would like you to spawn the wave of enemy wave. Now the only issue I've got here is that once we spawn the enemy, I'm going to have all these enemies appear, and once we've killed them, I want them to continually keep spawning. So I have to do this with each side to remember what I do on one side, I do on the other side. So what I actually want to do is that once they've spawned, they're ever ending. They don't ever stop spawning. Yeah. So go to my spawn locator here. That's the one I want. Okay, and generate waves. So both sides, I have to do one side, the other one, and do the other one. So I've now got both sets of waves being generated. Okay. There we go. So that now starts off, and they'll do the troops. So how do I get them to continue to respawn? How do I get it to continue to do that? So all I need is one simple tool, and that happens to be a logic gate. Oops, gone the wrong way, other way. All I need is a logic gate, okay? And in that logic gate here, that's all we need. And we just stick that to the side of it. And what we do is that we say once the wave is defeated, can we input a signal into that logic gate? And on the output, can we regenerate the wave? And therefore, it will continually keep this going. Right, so that's basically it. What I'm going to do is, once I finish this, I then move these counters and hide them. I'm now going to show you 2 matches, and just to show you how this game works, just to give it a go. I have to say, one of the best games we've done. I had a lot of fun playing with this game, so I strongly advise you create this, because I tell you, it's a good laugh, and it's a good thing to play with your friends. So for the first time I'm sharing the mic, and I've got Jessica who's going to be player 2 and I'm player 1. Now I've chosen the cap, and who have you chosen?
Ahsoka.
And I noticed in this game you trying to get me damaged before the game started, a little bit of cheating. The cap though, I've got him in his army outfit. So why Ahsoka though? Why is she any good?
Because she has lightsabers.
Yeah, that's a good argument. It's a good argument, I'll give you that one. Yeah, but she's not a Jedi though, is she? She's not a Jedi.
I know she might not be a Jedi, but that doesn't really matter because she's pretty strong and she can actually do half of the stuff that everybody else can do.
Well, let's see what happens, because the cap's coming.
She's a lot stronger than Darth Vader.
Yeah, it could be.
I think.
We'll find out. Now I've gone straight for the tree approach, but seem to mess that one up. And you've done the same thing, I see. Okay, sneaked up. Right.
But the tree is one of the best places.
Oh, I like to see that you jumped up. Oh, right, sneak right down on top. Nice, thanks. So even we kill a few guards off. Here we go. Oh, did I just get you? I think I just did. Ooh. Bit of shield work. A bit even Stevens. Oh, no, you get me now. Whoa! It's so unfair. Stop using the force. That's not fair. I don't have the force.
I told you she was
Right, I'm legging out of here. I'm getting away. I think she gets to. Right.
You do like where you come back down,
Yeah, I'm
but
trying
it
to get my
doesn't
shield, but
work.
my shield missed though. Oh man, he's too good. Oh! Got hit off the edge.
But you've got no health to survive, so they just shoot you down because I killed you.
Okay, so it's 0-0. You go up one score, so you've already got.
I like using that trick where you pull up and then you just pull.
That's quite a good move, I'll give you that. My shield guy doesn't fire enough, he throws it away all the time. So where have you gone? I'm going to sneak up from behind you. Alright, so you're running away from me now.
No, I'm trying to come behind you.
Okay, well, I've just noticed your health. You've hardly lost any health. Am I that bad? Where are you? Where are you?
You don't actually know I'm right behind you.
Oh! Okay, Ahsoka's pretty good. Oh, she's got the force thing again. You do realise you're fighting with the Imperials? Traitor. Turn to the dark side. Can't believe it. You're kicking my butt.
I didn't actually turn to the dark side.
Yeah, well, you're killing me again. Oh, man. 2-0. So if I go through my score count has changed to 2. Ah, but you're a bit damaged this time, though.
Yeah, even though you've got like on my bar it only goes up to that far, yours goes a little bit further. But it's even though I've got half of my health, doesn't mean I still can't beat you.
Yeah, well, you seem to be hiding at the moment. You seem to be running scared now. Now you know I'm after you.
No, I know you're coming up the trees, but I've got to find a way of getting so you don't see me.
Yeah, right.
I know you're coming up there, so I can come down there.
Oh, yeah, got you now. Got you now. Did you? Oh, nice move. Oh, threw you off. Oh,
You know I can see where you're going to jump. And my guys are shooting up.
Oh man, you're still kicking. Oh, your health's low, but you're doing some damage.
But I do die.
Yeah.
That means you do get 1
So I got
point.
1 kill for you on that one.
1 kill, but that was one of you men, not you, because you didn't use your shield, did you?
The shield I keep throwing it away. Alright, so come on, it's 2-1 now. First one to 3 wins. Oh man, I got some damage there from some troops. Too busy trying to get to you.
You know I jumped up.
Oh, you jumped. Yeah, no, yeah, but I'm following you.
You didn't know that I jumped down.
No, you tricked me there. That was a bit tricky. And then I realised on the map you're down below. Oh, now watch this though. Wait, where's it? Okay. Spin move. Look at that.
You know I am going to use mine.
Yeah, but you'll have to say, watch this. You do it. Oh, you get a bit. Hit you twice again with that.
My awesome jet. You know you could spin the air thing if you hold
My
it.
shield getting damaged here. Right. Watch this now. You leg it. Oh, no, he's still using the force on me.
You know,
Right.
it only shows up when it says hold square after if you've hit them with your lightsaber after a little bit.
Yeah, right, I'm nearly dead. And that's it.
I win. I told you she was way better than you.
So, right, for our second game, we've upped the ante. It's an Anakin and Ahsoka face-off.
Well, Darth Vader
Yeah,
and
well.
Ahsoka.
Darth Vader's more powerful than you.
Well, I know he might be a little bit more powerful, but she's probably just the same.
No way. I'm gonna kick your butt.
I know you do eventually kill me, but you do. But she would have won.
Well,
Just if I didn't do that mistake.
well, look, I can't even open the flipping door.
Yeah, you can't do it with
Wasn't
your
looking too good in this round. Right. The one problem with Darth Vader though, he don't run that quickly, does he? He's a bit slow.
No. It's like he's got to have that cool walk.
I think if I change this level, I think we'll have more climbing areas, more different areas to move around.
Yeah.
I think we need more platforms.
I know how to do that.
Oh, watch this throw the lightsaber. Oh, throw you off the branch.
I didn't actually know you'd actually get me.
Yeah, that was awesome.
You kept on throwing your lightsaber the opposite way, so I had a chance of getting you. Until I didn't see you come up because my camera wasn't turned. But I used my mini... Oh, because I didn't see you because I didn't know where you were and I was going to use...
Proper battle here now. Kicking me. I was like really low. Using the force on me.
It does work. You don't have that. You
Oh,
have the... Like,
yeah, but look at the
stand
comeback
up.
now. Now I use the force now myself. Oh, you just trapped me.
Yeah, I push it away and you pull it in.
Yeah, look at that. And I was so low as well. Took the first one.
But because you're low now, I can get a chance of getting you because I've got full health. And it take a long while till you get back to that full health.
Yeah, whatevs.
But Daddy, if we are gonna do like another one, you put like more health in so you can go and grab health, and you'd make more tree room and you'd probably make it more look like Endor.
So there you go, there you go. So let's make more trees. Anyone's going to build this one? Oh, you finished me off too quickly then. That is a good idea. Some more trees and probably health spots around as well. So I'll show that in my next clip. So I'll show you that going. But here we go. Alright, where are you?
You know I'm gonna ruin up the tree because I've done it loads of times.
Yeah, and we need more levels so to get lost. And I keep using. I wasted an enemy then. Oh. Right, which way are you going?
Just press the wrong button.
Yeah.
Oh, why don't you make it pitch black?
Oh, that'd be quite a good idea.
Yeah.
I like that idea. And if you want to make the sky pitch black, you have to lock it by going into the toy box, into the arena. Oh, you jumped down on top of me. I didn't see you do that.
And
Don't make me angry. Okay, so I'm getting pretty hammered out. I can't throw the lights over in the right direction. Right, use the force, come on, that's it. Oh, in trouble now. Where you going?
But I would have won if I just...
Where you going? Pull you in. Oh, look at that. You can't fight against that. Bring it in and slap you on the head.
Daddy, I would have won if I just didn't make them mistakes. But you do know Ahsoka is more powerful than Darth Vader.
No, never. This settles the argument.
No, because sometimes you can have more health on that, and you got to up level your character more. But in real life and the cartoons, you gotta know Ahsoka would be more powerful. In actual.
I doubt it. Yeah. Vader's still the strongest.
He's supposed. You know, like the rumours about Anakin's supposed to bring good. Well, he didn't bring good, did he? So he didn't do your job properly. Not a very good job because you've brought destruction and make the Empire stronger.
Well, I killed the Empire. What are you talking about? Oh, that was a good move.
Well, before episode 7.
Look at that though. Look, I've got virtually hardly any life down, and I've seriously got you. Oh.
I just had to do that. But Daddy, Daddy, to be honest, you did it only at the end when you could have done that like ages ago before, and you actually killed Padme because, you know.
Yeah, I did. I had issues. You're right. Vader's got issues.
And you blamed on other people, which wasn't fair, to be honest.
That is true. Right. Well,
that's very being selfish, and you just want it your own way.
Well, my fault. I don't know.
It was your fault because you did it.
I like the fact you now think I'm Darth Vader. Nice one. Anyway, this is where am I coming? Like, oh, coming down for the final fight.
You don't actually know where I was.
You keep on running away from me because you're scared because you knew I got you.
No, Daddy, I can blend in really well with this. Look how blendy and I'm like half orange, to be honest. So
because you're on the orange team, numpty.
No, actually, look at the character's skin. Look what she's wearing. Orangey, dark browny clothes, so it's hard to see me. And, you know, if I was in Hoth...
You're still running.
If I was in Hoth...
Oh, look at that throw. Oh! Owned. Oh, I like that. He's level now. He's come back. Oh, it's now even, Stephen.
You both got the same health.
Well, I'm afraid I got you on this last one. And that is where we come to the end of our clip. Thank you, Jessica, for joining us. She'll join us in the next one when we play the game of Rush, which will come shortly. I hope you like this. Definitely tag it if you like, and let me know you thought Jessica was a good laugh, even though she keeps telling me off. See you later. Cheers, guys. Bye.